good afternoon, everybody. Here we go. Fix education, fix the money, and fix the world. Just a few things to get through this afternoon then. Well done, Samantha. I think you teed that up beautifully. That was a fantastic presentation, all about the kids, which is kind of why I'm here. So my name's Claire Chisholm. I'm principal of Lomond School, now known as the Bitcoin School. You can see here in the middle, I'm sort of sometimes Shackleton. One of my parents mocked that up for me, a bit more on that later. And you can see me here at Cheat Code in Bedford. Again, a little bit more on that later. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about my school, first and foremost. Here it is. This is Lomond. That's our sports hall. Looks kind of new, but it's been around since 1845, just slightly younger than me. Quite a distinguished alumni, I would say, at the school. W.H. Auden was one of our teachers back in the day. Cecil Day Lewis also. Just up there, sort of top right, that's our junior school building. That's a historic house in Helensburgh. So we're an educational charity. We're an independent school, which means that our parents pay the fees. We're all the way through from 3 to 18, so we have a nursery all the way through. We're co-educational and we're day and boarding. And our main USPs, apart from being the Bitcoin School, there's a big clue up the top there, surrounded by water. We have the River Clyde on one side. Hi, Jason. And we have Loch Lomond, the beautiful Loch Lomond. I'm not going to sing the song, but it's on the other. So we are a non-selective school, which means that unlike some independent schools, we're not an exam factory. We're not just about the results. I measure things differently in my school. If I think that we can do a job for a child, that child will have a space at our school. And that means I can welcome young people with all kinds of talents, not just the typically academic, but also young people that are entrepreneurial, they're a bit creative, they're a little bit disruptive, and maybe looking for a kind of vocational route. Helensburgh's famous for its engineering, so we have an engineering pathway, for instance. We have a business pathway as well. So we're about, 40 minutes from Glasgow, about an hour and a half from Edinburgh, and at the end of my road, I can jump on a train at 11 o'clock at night and wake up London Euston at 8 o'clock in the morning. A little bit about Helensburgh. It probably looks like a bit of a sleepy seaside town. It does good ice cream, it does good fish and chips, it ticks all those boxes. But actually, back in the day, Helensburgh was a bit of an enlightened place. Lots of innovation has happened in Helensburgh, and I like to think that I'm the kind of descendant of that. I suppose if you think of the Hamptons in the States, Helensburgh was to Glasgow what the Hamptons is to New York. A lot of rich merchants would come and stay there. They had their holiday homes in Helensburgh, and lots of big villas and really nice place to live. Henry Bell, who invented the steamship from Helensburgh, Prime Minister, Andrew Bonar Law, who actually set himself the task, this is hilarious, his job was that he was going to create a government which the public could trust. I think he lasted 222 days in office. And the final one that you're probably going to be more interested in, because I can see that some of you are staring at your phones, John Logie Baird, the inventor of the television, was a former pupil of our school. So he really did disrupt the monopoly. He broke centralised control and is a bit of a hero of mine. So I'm going to show you a little video just for a couple of minutes. This is the video that I showed to parents at prize giving just a few days ago, and it tells the story of our pupils' 24 to 25 session. But there's a bit more to that story, which I'll come to once the video is finished. Here we go. Say the prayers for technology.
Make it feel everything you've never even seen. shines on new pavement, and you don't even feel it. It's a cry far from bad radios. The date's been playing football indoors when they painted town with Thatcher. They never even wanted to know ya. Feel alone. I can slip the sunshine to the day. Yeah, stick your hat to everything you say. Yeah, to be gone, be gone, be gone, be gone, be gone. You've been my favorite for a long time. You've been my favorite for a long time. 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 Did you know cities on the turn are often strange? Yeah, now every time you blink you feel a change. And it's been a long, a long, a long, a long, long, long. You've been my favorite for a while. Makes sense when you understand. The misery made me another magma. Always looking over my shoulder. And each new day I get another year older. Shoulder bound to the frame of a door. Tuned into shape like a stone on the shore. But if there was lightning in me, you know who it was for. Did you know I can claim the dreamer from the dream? Make you feel everything you've never even seen. It's been a long, a long, a long, a long, a long, long. You've been my favorite for a long time. You've been my favorite for a long time. You've been my favorite for a long time. You've been my favorite for a long time.
Okay, so a little bit of a flavour of the life of my school and the happy kids and all the things that they get up to. But some other stuff happened in 24-25 which wasn't quite as nice. I suppose I can sort of sum it up in one phrase, which is freedom of education is under threat. I feel that the government, not content with trying to politicise the curriculum, as they have done for many years, particularly in Scotland, with a bit of a nationalist agenda, it seems like they're trying to shut schools like mine down. And that's because we're free thinkers, we don't do necessarily what everybody else does, and because we can generate money for the government, and of course, we know how they spend it. So some crazy shizzle has happened over the last year. And at that point, we were thinking about how we were going to take things forward as a school. And you've heard of patient zero, right? You know what that means? Well, I had parent zero. And parent zero, I'm not sure if he's here. He said he would be. I'm going to give him a big row in 20 lines if he's not. He is. Parent zero is here. And parent zero is Robin Smith. He is a parent. He's here with his wife, Catherine, and he's a parent of my school. And he came to me and he said, I think it was over a drink at Christmas time, actually. He said, Mrs. Chisholm, you're quite free-thinking, you're quite open-minded. How would you like it if I paid my school fees in Bitcoin? And of course, I said, well, tell me a bit more about Bitcoin. I hadn't been orange-pilled yet. I was nowhere near a rabbit hole. Tell me a bit more about it and I can make a call. So the teacher, me, I'm an English teacher, I'm not an economist. becomes the learner. And Robin and his network started explaining to me about Bitcoin. And do you know, the more I heard, the more I liked. He introduced me to some brilliant people, to Alan Farrington, to Danny Knowles, to David Parkinson, to Robin Thatcher, which eventually led to Seyfedin Ammous. I'll tell you about him in a wee minute. And before I knew it, I was at a governor's meeting pitching this crazy idea to them, which would be, let's be the first Bitcoin school. Let's try and appeal to a different market. Let's try and do things differently. And crucially, let's bring things into alignment with who we are already as a school. So there I was in front of the governors, thinking to myself, how am I going to pull this one off, Chizzy? But actually, it took me 5 minutes, because either it's my powers of persuasion or just the fact that Bitcoin is a damn good thing, one of the two, it got over the line pretty quickly. So the next thing I know, I'm at Cheat Code with Alan on the stage announcing that we're going to accept Bitcoin, which is incredibly, incredibly exciting. And oh, here we go. There we go. That's the one I want. So you probably recognize him because of Timothy Chalamalala playing him quite recently. One of my big heroes, Bob Dylan. And when I think back to the moment that I talked about Bitcoin as a school leader, the first person to do it, I thought about Bob Dylan on the stage at Newport when he first brought out his electric guitar and shocked the world. That's kind of the shockwaves and the ripples that have gone out in the world of education. So I've turned into a bit of a kind of Bitcoin evangelist, I guess. I metaphorically got my guitar out, played a few tunes, and I decided that I was going to make a change. And that's really what we've done over the last, gosh, Robin, has it only been 6 months? It's been 6 months, folks. We have been not consciously orange pilling, because I think that's, you know, that's a mistake. I don't think you can ram things down people's throats. I think you live it, you model it, you talk about it, you reflect on it, and people join the party as and when. That's certainly what I've learned as an educator. Children are not vessels to be filled. They're fires to be ignited. And that's how I'm dealing with the adults around the Bitcoin situation as well. But many teachers, many parents are on board. My leadership team are all orange-pilled. Some of them have put their savings into Bitcoin already. They move fast. They want their salaries paid in Bitcoin. We're really moving to something quite special and quite unique. And even in this very short space of time, we've started looking at mining. We've got our BitAxe, we've got our treasury set up, we have our nodes. And actually, more important than any of that, because I'm a teacher at heart, I'm not an economist, I'm looking at the curriculum. And this is the sort of the second part of my talk. That's some of the coverage that we got. I had a lot of infuriated head teachers who were very cross that I got there first, phoning me up. But equally, we've gone a bit viral. I think we almost made the front cover of the Financial Times, but I think they pulled back just at the last minute because they're a bit mainstream at the moment. But yeah, we've gone worldwide. I've had a number of schools contact me to ask me, how can we do what you're doing? Once you're there, can you show us how? Can you pass this torch on? Lots of teachers getting in touch to say, can I come and work with you? And I think 6 or 7 inquiries now of families that want to bring their kids to my school. In fact, somebody turned up with a 6-month-old baby. That's what I call being prepared. So education is broken, kind of broken, but I guess you knew that. And this is where I see real synergies with Bitcoin. We at Lomond, one of the things that I'm really passionate about is the curriculum that we teach, and we teach the International Baccalaureate. And that's why when I thought about Bitcoin, I was already open-minded. I was already slightly disruptive. I was already completely sold on things that are decentralized. Because at the moment, I feel, certainly in Scotland, our education system is teaching compliance. We're teaching our kids what we want them to know so that we can prop up this flawed system. We've got institutionalized financial failure, and we are on the brink of having institutionalized educational failure as well. As I said, education has become completely politicised, and I'm not quite as au fait with the situation in England as I am in Scotland, but I know that since COVID, we have been printing A's. Just like we've been printing fiat, we just push the button and we print A grades, and things have become completely devalued. So I want sound education, and now it turns out I want sound money. So the similarities are really clear. The International Baccalaureate is trust-based, it's resistant to inflation, it's disruptive because it causes people to challenge what they think they know. It's based on inquiry, taking risks. It's borderless. It's completely transparent. Basically, what Bitcoin is to money, the IB is to education. We already had that in place. So the move to thinking about Bitcoin wasn't a scary one for me at all. These are some of the questions that pop up in exam papers. I mean, the first one, calculate the mass of a shadow. I think that was in a physics paper from a school in India. I mean, spoiler, shadows have no mass. Johnny with his 38 pencils, Johnny needs help, not to know how many pencils he's left up with. Three benefits of the bubonic plague. What could that be? I don't know, more real estate, more rats, better immune system maybe, I'm not sure. Don't really understand the furlongs to hectares. I mean, I'm not really into medieval horse racing. And then finally, I would just buy stainless steel. So this is the kind of nonsense that many schools have to stand by as part of their curriculum. I'm really glad I promised some Scottish magic, and my Scottish magic, I know you think it's me, it wasn't. It was going to be Billy Connolly and his sketch with algebra. Look it up. I'm glad I didn't put it in because there are kids here and his language is choice. But here's a little table that I thought you might find interesting. There is a beautiful synergy here. You know, and I really have a dream, which sounds cliche, I know, but I have a dream of a decentralized curriculum, which is about challenge, not compliance, which isn't about regurgitating facts that somebody has handed down from generation to generation, nobody questions anymore. A curriculum based on critical thinking and inquiry, a curriculum that is agile and moves fast. That creates world changers, where growth is more important than the results. And in that way, thank you, sir. In that way, I feel that we are already, you know, married to Bitcoin and all that it stands for. Something else I want in the curriculum as an English teacher that I've taught for the last 25 years is George Orwell. That is mandatory in my school. Everybody does Georgie boy. And the other thing that I would like to include in my curriculum is that children leave school with a BS detector. I don't want them manipulated. I want them to be able to question. I want them to have the courage and the confidence to do that. I'm all about education for the future, not now, the future. We have to hodl our education. We have to hold on to it. We have to protect it. And we have to think about what's coming, not what's now. I'm going to just skip by that one. Okay, so here's me and Saifuddin. So I went out to see Saifuddin in Jordan in May. He texted me before I went on. I don't know how he got my number. He texted me before I went onto stage at Cheat Code, and he said, I want to work with you. You and I are going to write this curriculum together. So he's a good boy. He's done his homework. He's done the first 3 chapters of our new book, which is basically a teenager version of the Bitcoin standard, which I'm going to be using to teach in school, and I'm going to be writing the curriculum to go alongside that. We're fixing this broken education together, and we're writing a curriculum based on Austrian economics. And we're going to be the first school to do this that will sit nicely alongside what we already do with our IB. Those are the kind of things that I'm putting lesson plans together on now. And that, by the way, is for kids age 3 all the way through to 18. Yeah. Okay, so earlier on I mentioned Shackleton, and you know my name is Shackleton McChiz, to those who can get away with it. I'm thinking of Shackleton's advert when he asked for people to come on his adventure. I'm going to read this. Men wanted. Okay, men are optional. My leadership team is all female. He said it was going to be a hazardous journey. Small wages. Yep, I'm a teacher. Constant danger. Yep, I'm a teacher. Honor and recognition only if it's successful. I feel that that's me. If I'm Shackleton, I want you guys and the Bitcoin community, who I love, by the way, I absolutely feel at home here. I want you guys to be Stevie Jobs, who is another one of my heroes. I need you to help. I need you to spread the word. I need you to think about what your legacy is. I need you to think about how you can support schools like mine, visions like mine, to become a bit bigger. So how you can do that is, and I didn't ask permission for this either, I'm a bit of a naughty girl sometimes, I've created 42, because if you're a hitchhiker, 42 is the answer to everything. If you're not a hitchhiker, 42 is 2 times 21, which is the other answer to everything. Created these scholarships, which I would like the Bitcoin community to get behind. Pretty exciting. And that's me. That's me with a little budding creative disruptor, I think. You can find me on X at Lomond Life. Delighted to hear from you. That's our school website. And I'm going to be in Glasgow, Bury St Edmunds, and Hong Kong. So if you want to chat, if you want to catch up about anything, catch me on X, at Lomond Life, or catch me later on. I'm sure I'm going to be somewhere with a well-earned glass of wine in my hand very, very soon. So thank you so much for listening. Sorry for going over a little bit there, guys. Much appreciated. Thank you. Thank you.
Secure your BTC Prague 2026 ticket at the lowest possible price now.